Don't you love college football rivalries? I know I do. Now, it's easy for me to love college football rivals because all my team does is beat all three of their rivals year in and year out like a fucking drum. Kirby's been the coach of Georgia for what, 9 seasons? They've got three rivals: Auburn, Florida, and Georgia Tech. Auburn has beat him once. Georgia Tech has beat him once. And Florida has beat him twice in 9 years. So it's good to be king, and it's good to be me. But these noon games are unbelievable so far. How about the Vandy Tennessee game? Vandy takes the opening kickoff 100 yards for a touchdown, jumps out to a 7-0 lead. They kick off to Tennessee. Tennessee fumbles on the second play. Vandy jumps on it in the red zone, scores again. They're up 14-0 basically before the game even starts. Added a field goal to make it 17. Tennessee comes storming all the way back, tied up 17 apiece, Tennessee and Vandy. Ohio State and Michigan shaping up to be maybe the shocker of the day. Ohio State was a huge favorite, a 3-touchdown favorite at home against the worst Michigan team in a long, long time. And Ohio State has struggled to move the ball for the majority of the first half. They didn't score a touchdown, Ohio State didn't, until the last minute of the first half. Your halftime score 10-10. So we'll see what happens in the second half. I mean, I think Ohio State's a much better team, and at home, you would think they could pull away from Michigan in the second half, but we'll see. Michigan's defense especially is playing pretty good. And Clemson and South Carolina are all tied up at halftime. So as far as like the big rivalry games that are on at noon, you really couldn't ask for much better than what we have. In fact, it couldn't get any better. I'm watching 3 games. They're all 3 tied at halftime. Clemson and South Carolina tied at 7. Tennessee and Vandy tied at 17. Michigan and Ohio State tied at 10. This is why we watch college football. This is why y'all were watching the Georgia Tech game last night. Okay, that's part of the reason. The main reason you were watching the Georgia Tech game was because you wanted me to lose. Unfortunately, I won again. But anyway, that's besides the point. But all 3 of these fucking games are tied at halftime. You just can't ask for better football than this. And some of these games have playoff and conference championship implications. Tennessee, we still got 2 minutes to go until halftime, so I guess I got a little ahead of myself. It's not actually halftime yet, but so tied up at 17 with 2 minutes to go. But Tennessee, all they got to do is beat Vandy and they're in the playoffs. Now, if you sat a Tennessee fan down in August and you said, hey, I'm not going to tell you anything about your season. I'm not going to tell you what your record is. I'm not going to tell you who you beat. I'm not going to tell you who you lost. I'm not going to tell you any of that. Here's all I'm going to tell you. The last game of the season against Vandy. If you win, you're going to the playoffs. Tennessee fans will take that 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000. And they'll probably win this game. But it would be the most tarred nation thing ever for Tennessee to find a way to lose to Vandy and knock themselves out of the playoffs. Tied at 17, 2 minutes to go. Tennessee just picks up a first down out to their own 16, so they still got 85 yards to go here. But they got 2 minutes. We'll see. Maybe they can score and take the lead before the half. But that would be the most Tennessee thing ever. Of course, the Clemson-South Carolina game, now these teams are both ranked in the top 15, so they're not in the playoffs right now, but these are the teams that would benefit from somebody like Tennessee losing today, or Ohio State, or Southern Cal later, or Penn State or Indiana, or whatever the case. Now, Clemson still has a chance to get into the playoffs, even if they lose this game. Just weird scenarios here, but Clemson could lose this game to South Carolina, right? If Miami loses to Syracuse, Clemson goes to the ACC title game, whether they beat South Carolina or not. That's a non-conference game. Miami plays Syracuse tonight on the road at Syracuse. They're an 11-point favorite, Miami is. So, obviously, if you're Clemson, you want to win this thing. That opens up a possible second path to the playoff as an at-large if a couple of teams in the top 10 lose. But they've got a second path, but they would need Miami to lose tonight. So just whatever. And then Ohio State, Michigan. Michigan's got nothing to play for outside of just pissing in the cornflakes of the Ohio State man for the 4th year in a row. And so far, valiant effort. Valiant effort so far by Michigan, tied at 10 apiece. We're live streaming. If you want to come hang out and watch the second half of these noon games, we're live streaming. But a lot of the Ohio State fans in the comment section upset with the Ohio State play calling. Not enough downfield passing, things like that. Anyway, great games on. Rivalry weekend. It don't get no better than this. Texas and Texas A&M tonight. We've been waiting 15 years to see this game. This rivalry got taken away from us through no fault of our own, by the way. We didn't do anything as fans. We were watching the game every year like we were supposed to. And because people got their feelings hurt and grown-ups would rather cry than do the right thing, and nobody involved with college football gives one flying fuck what the fans think, they said, well, we're just not going to play the game anymore because Texas A&M joined the SEC and we're Texas and we're mad about it. So they just didn't play the game anymore. They said, fuck it. Fuck the fans. We're not going to play the game anymore. That was 15 years ago. Well, now Texas has joined the SEC, and the SEC said, guess what, Texas? You can't dodge A&M anymore. We're going to make you play them in a conference game. Anyway, so that game, of course, tonight is huge. Winner goes to the SEC championship game for the right to lose to Georgia. Vanderbilt just intercepted a Nico pass, but landed out of bounds, so it did not count. So Tennessee dodges one there. 3rd and 5 with 1:05 to go in the first half. Let's see what Tennessee does here on this 3rd and 5. Let's see. Nico throws, pass complete. Drags a man inside the 40 down to about the 37. So they're almost in field goal range. Maybe they can take a lead into halftime. Coming all the way back in that one. Louisville's up big over Kentucky. It was 20-0 last time I looked at that one. Louisville was up. Let me see if I can get an update for you on some of these other ones. Illinois up 14-10 over Northwestern. Yeah, 20-0 Louisville up over Kentucky at halftime. Duke losing to Wake Forest. Kansas losing to Baylor. Wow. 21-10 Baylor with the lead. Third quarter just started there. Texas Tech 35. West Virginia 3. Wow, Country Roads lead straight to hell for Neil Brown. Turns out he's not a good coach and he doesn't know what he's doing. Army up 13-10 over UTSA at halftime. So there you go. A lot more great games coming on at 3:30. And then, of course, the primetime games tonight. I'll be streaming on Patreon for the primetime games. Link to the Patreon's in the description. Make sure you check it out. Texas A&M, and all the primetime games tonight on Patreon. All right, get your predictions down below. Any of these favorites going to lose? Is Tennessee going to lose this game? Yes or no? Clemson was the favorite in this one. A small favorite, 2.5 points. But Clemson was a 2.5 home favorite here. Is Clemson going to lose? And, of course, Ohio State was a massive 3-touchdown favorite, a 20-point favorite, tied with Michigan at halftime. Is Ohio State going to lose? Let me know. Pick the losers down below. A lot of y'all are going over here tomorrow. You know who's not going over there? Georgia not going over there. But you know who is?